Good afternoon. Has everybody had a chance to get some snacks over there, some cake, punch? If you haven't, feel free to do that throughout the ceremony. If you don't have a program and want one, they're on that back table over there. There's posters over there as well. I see another Hall of Famer here that I need to get marked down here. And there's probably some that I'm going to miss. Welcome to all of you to Barton Community College, and one of the happiest, most proud, eventful days of the entire year for us here at Barton Community College, where we get to hear the stories from the legends that walked the halls of this place for many years. We get to embellish ourselves in the rich tradition of this athletic department and what it's meant to this college and all of the communities that surround us here. It simply is, for me, my favorite day of the year. Sometimes I get asked, people talk about what it means to be a Hall of Famer, and I think everybody has a different definition of that. I think a lot of words can go with Hall of Fame, like service, dedication, passion, compassion, certainly success, work ethic. And I think what you might see most up here today from these people who have had all of those attributes during their time here at Barton and beyond in their careers is the pride that they have from the time that they spent here. I can certainly attest to that from being a former student athlete here many years ago. You're going to hear, you young student athletes, some of you may have attended last year's ceremony. Some of you freshmen new this year. You're going to find out, if you don't already know, what a special place this is. And we'll get to hear that through these documentaries and these stories today. The rich tradition here at Barton continues to shine as we hung another national championship banner last year with our women's track and field program. We still own the most national championships in the history of the NJCAA, and we're at 57 and counting. And we were really, really, really close to getting number 58 and 59 last year, a late goal in overtime of a soccer match, the national championship match. Cost us a national title there, and certainly an unforgettable false start in track and field. Quite possibly cost us a national championship in men's track and field last year. But certainly we're proud of all of those teams, their accomplishments, and we continue to push forward at a very, very high level across all of our sports programs. Another reason this is a really fun day for me is we get to see a lot of Hall of Famers come back. And I saw a lot, and I know there's going to be some. I have some of you underlined here on my program, but I'm going to miss some today, and we're going to have you all stand. So when I call your name, I want you to stand, and I want you to remain standing so that we can recognize you. And then we'll do the same thing between the men's and women's games this evening. We will recognize certainly our new inductees, but also our current Hall of Famers. From the class of 2004, Kevin Sundahl. Would you stand up, Sonny? From the class of 2006, Dana Foss is here. Where's Dana? There she is. Also from the class of 2006, Coach Tony Hobson is here with us today. Where's Coach at? Oh, did he already head back already? Okay. Coach had to head back for practice, so he got to shake hands and talk to some of his former colleagues, which is great. Steve Johnson is here today. Steve, where are you at? There he is. Larry Shugart is here today. Ray Seib, Coach Seib is here. Coach Curtis Hammocky is here today. I saw Dennis Sherman is here today. Dennis, which class? I didn't see you till late. 2012. Now, what other Hall of Famers are with us today that I did not recognize you come in today? Dr. Smith is here today. What class were you, Dr. Smith? 17. I got you right here. Who else? How about a huge round of applause for these Hall of Famers with us today? You can see all of the Hall of Fame classes on the back of your program, and again, we appreciate having all of you back with us today. Without any more rambling from the athletic director, and by the way, I guess I should have introduced myself for some of you here today who may not know who I am. My name is Trevor Rolfs, and I am the athletic director here at Barton Community College, going on year 9. So let's get going with what we came here today for, and that's to meet our new inductees. Before we do that, Angie Matty, Vice President of Student Services at Barton Community College, is going to come up and welcome you from the college. How about a big hand for Mrs. Matty?
Wow, Trevor's tall. I am shocked that he didn't start his remarks by saying, "Greetings, Cougar Nation." That's how he starts his emails to us. So I would just like to offer my welcome, along with A.D. Rolfs, and to Cougar Nation. I would no doubt be in attendance today at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I make every single one of them that I'm able to attend, if at all possible. But today in particular, I appear on stage on behalf of Barton's president, Dr. Carl Heilman. And he does send his deep regrets that he cannot be with you today and to honor these inductees into the ceremony, or into the Hall of Fame today. I'm honored to have the opportunity to welcome you to the induction ceremony and to the festivities and the acknowledgments that will take place this afternoon and this evening. As Trevor said, I'm the Vice President of Student Services. I have served at the institution for more than 20 years, and I am a Barton alum, and thus I have been cheering for the Cougars for many, many years. We have several distinguished individuals and honorees to hear from today, and I know enough to keep my comments incredibly brief. We have spent this academic year recognizing Barton Community College's 50th year of providing educational opportunities and services. Looking back over our 50-year history has provided ample opportunities to consider a rich history and the many, many people who have impacted our first half-century. It began back in September when faculty and staff welcomed about 500 or more of our closest friends and neighbors to this campus for a big open house event. It continued in December when we honored the students of the first graduating class of Barton. And next month, we will honor individuals who are valued partners with the college in our educational mission. So when we look back over the past 50 years, we just can't help but be struck by the varied contributions that need to come together to make this, as Trevor said, such a special place. I think today's honorees really drive home the fact that it takes those so many varied contributions to come together to create Barton. Because you'll see, I mentioned in talking about our 50-year recognitions that I talked about the impact and the participation of students, of faculty and staff, and of partners. And it seems only fitting that today we recognize a longtime staff member in Coach Warren, a former student and graduate in Ipek, and valued partners in our mission in Dr. and Mrs. Slater. Many, many, many times over my more than 20 years at Barton, I have told students that we really hope that they will take a part of the Barton story with them onto the next step of their journeys. And I tell them they are leaving their footprints and their impact on this institution. To any of you students in attendance today, in what you do, in what you contribute, in what you accomplish. You are leaving your footprints and your impact on this institution today and in the days ahead and until you leave. We look forward to the next 50 years when perhaps we will welcome some of you back, perhaps as student athletes, perhaps as other contributors and other partners in our Barton mission, to take a seat alongside of these inductees and the other inductees who were announced earlier. But for today, we pause to recognize these individuals who have left their mark on Barton. They have helped us to become who we are and what we have become over the past 50 years. And they have left us better than they found us. So it is truly a pleasure to take time to honor, to congratulate, and most especially to thank these individuals for the lasting impression that they have made. Thank you again for being in attendance.
Angie kind of stole my thunder a little bit, but that's okay. She speaks a lot more eloquently than I do. But 50 years, and Angie mentioned that several times. 50 years, and we started celebrating that back in August. And to look back, and so many of you in the crowd today, and by the way, what a crowd today. Thank you all for coming. This is awesome. I bet Barton has touched almost every single person in here today in some way, shape, or form. And as I've looked at our celebration all year of 50 years, it's been really, really neat to see all of the folks that have come through the doors and through the celebrations, the early one in September, and look at the different capacities at which they've affected Barton or vice versa. And Angie also spoke to the class this year. Each and every Hall of Famer is special in their own way. Whether that was as a student athlete here, as a coach here, as a contributor, what they have done beyond Barton that makes us really proud, what they've given back to Barton. Each individual is special in their own different way, and each class is special. And I had the opportunity to speak on the radio show yesterday on Sports Day, and that was much of our discussion, was how this class has a little bit of everything. It takes a village. You've probably heard that theme before. And that's, in my mind, why Barton is so awesome. You have to have good student athletes to be successful. You have to have good coaches to be successful. You have to have an administration and a board of trustees that are committed to your athletic programs being successful. But then you also have to have a community that stands behind your athletic programs. And you can see that from high school to community college to Division II to Division I, and even your pro sports teams and how much they get supported within their communities. And the support that we have, and as we induct some contributors today who were very instrumental in many of the successes that the teams had here when they were here in Great Bend, gives us a sense of that village and what that's all about. Here to present our first Hall of Fame inductees this afternoon is our head men's basketball coach. Please welcome Craig Fletchall.
Get a wintergreen. Keep this short and sweet because you all aren't here to listen to me, and Dr. Smith hasn't cured my bronchitis yet. So, this goes back. This is kind of an old story, but when Lane coached here, he used to leave wintergreens on the scores table. So I'm going to put one in, kind of in honor of him. First, quickly, thank you for the sport coat. I looked like Tommy Boy this morning when I put on my old coat, so I didn't know what I was doing, but I've lost so much weight. Before we get to the Hall of Fame, and obviously the contributors, the Slaters, it is an honor to be up here, even with the presenters. I've been through all these Hall of Fames. This is my 15th year here, and watching people present people, and sometimes there's not a tie with all three because they've come from such far-reaching places. But with Brent and with Lane, I mean, this is really neat to be up here with these two guys. Coach, you'd be real proud of him. He does a great job. He deserves to be presenting you. And no offense to you coaches over there. I'm kind of a boxing fan, but pound for pound, he's the best coach in our department. And it's an honor to come to work with him every day. Lane Lord, on the other hand, we share lots of stories, but it's pretty neat to see him. The basketball god's shown on us to have him back because they should be playing. He's a Division I coach in Texas and has done a great job at every place he's gone. Another great honor to be introduced in Ipek, but it's really neat to have Lane back here. He toured quickly. He saw the locker room bathroom that he used to go in and use every morning while he's reading the Wichita paper. And I also remember the facilities have changed, but so has the budget. Okay? I don't mean that in a negative way, but remember where our offices were? There was one day about halfway through the year, you probably won't remember this, but I yelled to Lane, because I'd been at some other schools, and I said, Lane, I keep spending money. I don't know, what do we do? We got playoffs, we got meals, what do I do? And Lane said, we have no budget, just spend it. So those were the good old days, weren't they, Doc? But it is an honor to be up here with these two guys. As far as the honorees, Coach Warren, you're a stud. Everybody knows you. Well-deserved. I appreciate the texts over the years, even since you've left. I love, I'm a baseball guy. I actually played when you coached. I think I went 3 for 4 against your bad pitching staff one day. But it's an honor to have you up here. You were on the hiring committee when I got hired, and forever grateful to be able to have you as a mentor. Ipek, you're a stud. I tell you what, shooting the 3 ball and hearing these announcers all across the state try to pronounce your last name, that was fun. But I'm glad you're in coaching. We'd love to have you come back. My assistant's up there, but if you want to come back, I'll fire him tomorrow and hire you any day. But I want to thank you guys and welcome. I'm here to introduce Dr. Bill and Lori Slater as contributors. They've done so much. It's so hard for me to go into stories and details because they did their work mostly before I came here in 2005. They moved here in 95. It is my understanding that they kind of chose Great Bend because it was kind of equally distant. Lori's a Colorado girl, loves the Broncos, and Doc Slater's a big Oklahoma guy, a big Sooner fan. And so I think and Great Bend it was. So, and the legacy they left has touched so many people. As a contributor, a lot of works go behind the scenes. There's people that do things for the wrong reasons and want to publicize themselves, especially now with social media. And these two, everything's behind the scenes. They're so humble. They're genuine. All the adjectives you can describe, caring, but great people and well-deserved to be in this. They obviously have provided financial support, which as a contributor you do. They were very involved with the Booster Club, as you can read. The Cougars Den. I believe I heard you donated an ice machine at one point in time. And so the financial contributions are obviously present, but they're the last ones to ever gloat that or want recognition for that. Meals, Lori loves to cook. Again, I got on the tail end of that, but it is my understanding, and even with my first few years, she loved to cook. Guys over at their house, players go. You go over there. There'd be people over there just to do their laundry. We have these young men and women from far away, and sometimes they come here in the fall, and they're homesick, and it's 4 months before they get to see their family. And what a better couple and a family to bring them in, bridge the gap, talk on their level, conversations, meals, just go do the laundry, watch football games. That's one of the many roles that they played. But they've had so many lasting relationships now because of that. And again, you remember those things. You remember your first semester away from home and when you're in school and the people that touch your lives. And these were great people for doing that. I remember you coming out on the floor when a couple people got hurt. You were always in a rush, weren't you?
I remember a little bit about that. And Coach Ken and I,
yep.
were a couple more fat guys.
You got pretty fast, didn't you? Well, I'm here to tell you, Ken doesn't move like that anymore. Okay? So things have changed on that line too, but I do appreciate that. But you were always out there. And again, that's what you have. And you don't have that at a lot of community colleges. Is there a doctor in the house? And he was always right there. I mentioned host family. We had a strong host family with, again, players. We have a lot of international athletes, and it's just amazing. It's amazing how they were able to bridge the gap. You have those certain people in life that can touch anyone, and it's not rich, poor, white, black, tall, small. It's just they get along and they just have compassion with everyone, and those two describe that to a T. A couple things, and I'm going to close. They've stayed in touch. They've come to games, even basketball games. When we've been in Garden City, when they lived in Scott City, there they were cheering on the team, and they had no tie with me or our new players. Always stayed in touch with text. Even tried to help me recruit a couple Scott City kids, I think, from the local church one time. So they have a strong heart and passion for this place. And then personally, the goals, the drives that they have done for community service, obviously supporting this college, but more importantly, which there is no more importance, is their faith life. And I can speak on that directly because for the first couple of years that my family lived here, we really didn't attend church. And Dr. Slater said, there's nothing like bringing your girls up in a church. At the time, my girls were 4 and 3. And that's definitely changed our lives. We took the invitation to attend their church. We've got church family here that can attest to this. But my girls, I've seen them grow within the church. My wife and both young daughters got baptized in that church. And, that's, again, all the awards, that's by far the most important. I think we all know that, and they live that. They live their faith life. And I will be forever grateful for you for that. So I guess I need to turn it over to the people you want to hear. And you are going to talk, Lori. There's a rumor that was only going to be Doc, but can't do that nowadays. It's 50-50. You got that? Okay, we're going to set the time. But it is my honor. It is my honor. And again, congratulations to all the people up there. This is a great day. I echo what Trevor says. This is one of the best days to see what everybody's done, a Hall of Fame and future Hall of Famers. But at this time, it is my honor to present and induct into the Hall of Fame Dr. Bill and Lori Slater. Thank you.
Well, Ken, I was going to wait to call you out till I got up here, but he gave me the opportunity to talk about us old fat guys. Lori and I are very humbled with this honor. When I graduated from high school, I was about 5'10" and about 160, and played power forward for my high school basketball team. But what I made up for my lack in size, I made up for by being real slow. And there just wasn't a whole lot of chance that I would ever be inducted into an athletic Hall of Fame anywhere, ever. But here we are. And when we became involved with the athletes and coaches and staff here at Barton, we first came as fans. But as you guys know, it didn't take very long until Lori started to feed the players. Well, once she started feeding them, it kind of took on a life of its own. She served Sunday afternoon meals, and it's hard to believe how much macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes basketball players can eat. But I can tell you it's a lot. And I was not going to say very much, but they told me I need to tell a couple of stories. So I will tell one story about a meal. And the kids had asked if they could have a party, and Stephanie in Garcinet. Stephanie's in 2 of these stories, by the way. But Stephanie is not, Stephanie's real important, but Stephanie's just typical of the other kids. And she said, well, we want to have a party, and we want it to be for the girls' basketball team. And Lori said, well, how many is there going to be? And she said, about 18. And we said, okay. So she fixed meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Macaroni and cheese. And the kids started coming, and girls' basketball team came, and then the boys' basketball team came, and that was not 18, that was 40. So the kids are eating, and we're going in there, and I'm going to the freezer, and I'm grabbing out all the corn on the cob and all the stuff that's frozen and throwing it in the pots and cooking it up. And it was just like the 2 loaves and the 5 fishes, or whichever way it was. There was enough to feed all those kids, and they did just great, and they had the best party. And when Lori and I went through at the end, you know when you cut a meatloaf, those little pieces on the end that are all burned up? We each got one. That was it. So it was great.
But there was enough.
There was enough, yeah. And the other story I want to tell is about the dominoes, because I think it's just an important story. James Hiltz was staying with us, and they wanted to have a party, and that was a Super Bowl party. And he said, "Can we play dominoes?" And Lori said, "What was it you said?"
Sure, but I'm not sure you can use our dominoes.
And he said, "Why? Are they too nice for us?" And she said, "No, JB plays with them, and we're not sure they're all there." So that kind of gives you an indication of how special the kids were to us, that we loved them so much. And those were the kind of meals. And I asked Lori just to tell the story about Stephanie in the movie, and I'm gonna move aside so she can tell you about Stephanie.
Well,
So
there's...
this is a Stephanie story.
Yeah. Well, Lane had asked us if Stephanie could live with us when she was here. She was from the Ivory Coast, and she could dock over on the basketball court like anybody's business. But one night, all the girls went to a movie, and we had, thank you, Mike and Debbie Needens, a very nice house to have all these kids come to. And interestingly, what we all ultimately needed was a living room, our bedroom, and a kitchen, because that's where everybody could have ended up, as in this story. When JB would be afraid of a storm, we would put a pallet on the floor and he would lay on the floor, and that's where he would sleep in the storm. Well, on this particular night, Stephanie and her friends had gone to a movie, unbeknownst to us, was a scary movie. So here comes the storm, here comes JB down the stairs. "Can I sleep with you?" "Yeah, there's your pallet. Knock your lights out." Well, pretty soon I hear, Lori, and I wake up, and it's Stephanie standing in the doorway, which she pretty much took all of, because she was very, very tall, and she said, "I'm scared. Can I sleep in your room?" And I said, "Sure." So I got up and I made a pallet. So here we all were in our bedroom, asleep, Bill and I in the bed, all the kids on the floor because they were afraid of the storm or the movie. But I guess for me, it was very touching in that she was comfortable enough with us that she could wake me up in the middle of the night because she was afraid and sleep on a pallet on our floor with JB, who was afraid of the storm. So she was very special to us. We still hear from her frequently.
So, well, sometimes they would, like you said, they would bring laundry. Sometimes they might come to the house and eat and then say they're going to go downstairs and study and watch TV. And when basketball players come to your house, at least our house, they would always take their shoes off. And I don't know if you made them do that, but they always did, and they always stacked them at the front door, and there would just be a line of them scattered out there. And they would say they were going to go downstairs and watch basketball on TV or go watch a movie or go study. But that was a lie. Because at 2:30, if you feed them at 1:30, at 3 o'clock or 2:30, and you go downstairs and check on them, they pulled every pillow,
Except mine.
except Lori's, off the beds, and they're all asleep. Because as you guys know, when Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock comes around and you're a college student, what you really need is a quiet place to lay down, and that's where they were. None of the kids drove, so I ferried them back and forth in my pickup, and then obviously some of them stayed in our house for a while. And you guys might wonder, well, why would we feed or house kids in our house? And we thought maybe we could give those kids a little bit of home life. We might make their stays at Barton County more comfortable, and we thought we had an opportunity to give something. But, we didn't know that even though we may be giving them something, that we were the true recipients. During our time feeding kids and doing laundry and hauling kids back and forth, we were blessed in so many ways. We developed millions of friendships that are still active today, and our lives were open to places and to cultures we would never have known. From inner city Tulsa, where Abby was from, to the Bronx, where Maya was from, to Yugoslavia, where what's that tall forward kid's name? That one was from. From Altus, Oklahoma, where Rebecca was from. And all those kids and their families, in Denver, where Taylor's from, all those kids and those families touched our lives in so many ways. And during those years, our son James learned to accept and love those kids in a way we could never have dreamed. As a matter of fact, one time we told him we were going to quit having kids at the house, and he said, well, Mom and Dad, you can't do that because, well, that's just what you do. So we didn't get to stop, and we didn't want to stop, I guess, anyway. In summary, we thought we might be able to give something to those kids in the college. Well, maybe we did, but what we got in return far outweighed anything we gave. And I would like to thank Barton County, the county that makes it possible, the administration, all of you guys, you wonderful coaches and athletic directors and rehab guys who made it possible. I want to thank you guys so much, and most of all of you kids who blessed our lives so much for so many years. Thank you very much.
Sometimes I don't have a story to tell about an inductee because they were here before my time here or after my time here as a student athlete, or they're not from Great Bend during the time that I've been back here for the last 9 years. But one of the first people, this was home for me. I grew up very close to here. But I'm coming back in a new role as an athletic director. I've been a coach, a teacher all my life. And, you know, it was a huge undertaking and all that kind of thing when you make a career move. And meeting all kinds of folks that I remembered from my time here, or they remembered me, and certainly getting to know all my staff and getting to know the Booster Club board and all the workings of that. But Bill and Lori invited me and my wife to their home very shortly after I arrived back here in 2011. And I could tell very early in our conversation that night that they had a huge place in their heart for this college and for these student athletes. And I think most people who talk about a story similar to theirs and how they wanted to give back to the kids and give something to them because they were able to do that, in turn get a whole lot back or get a whole lot more back than what they felt they ever gave. And that's really, really cool. And some of you are international athletes sitting out here. Some of you are out of state. Some of you are from Kansas, but you've never been to Great Bend before. And lots of people in Kansas think anything east of, or west of Salina is in Wyoming or something. So they were able to touch, you know, they talked about the international and out-of-state student athletes a lot, but I can guarantee you that there were kids from the Midwest and even the state of Kansas that they touched. And that night when they invited us over and welcomed us to the community and to the college, I knew that Lori liked to cook because they had this big house, and lots of people have big houses with lots of bedrooms and bathrooms and stuff. Lori had 2 kitchens. Not one, but 2 kitchens. So I'm like, this lady must really like to cook. But so the impact that you made on student athletes here, I can't begin to imagine, because just the impact that you made on me alone, not knowing me from Adam, was very appreciative. So one more big hand, and let's welcome Dr. Bill and Lori Slater to the Hall of Fame. Ipek, Turkyilmaz. Is that close? Okay. I've practiced saying that for like a week, and different people within the athletic community here have told me how to say it, and it's been about a different pronunciation every person that's told me. So I asked her today, Turkyilmaz. It's pretty close. Ipek, we can all say that. You know, Coach Fletch was talking about connections and friendships, and colleagues, and even when you're at other colleges in the conference, you get to know people, and it's really interesting. I never got to see you play. I've heard a lot of stories about you, but I know the man that's introducing you today very, very well, and I know the kind of people that he associates himself with. So I know you must be a very special person. But it's good to have you here today, and it's good to have my good friend Coach Lord here today. And without any further ado, please welcome Ipek's presenter, Coach Lane Lord.
All right, y'all. I got to get my mint. Thanks, Barb. When I coached basketball here at Barton County, hi, Alan. Hi, Coach. We kind of started eating these mints all game. And a funny story about them, there's probably 50 or 60 in here. And I go through a package every game just so I didn't have bad breath for you women, when you're yelling at you. But yeah, I'd always leave 3 or 4 for Fletch, because, he needed it too. But one time, where's Lynn at? Lynn's right over here. He used to bring them for me, and Barb and other people in the community. But one game, somebody brought some blue ones, and those are the sugar ones. And these right here, they were non-sugar. And I ate like 5 of them in about second quarter. Well, back then it was halves, but we're halfway through the first half, and I bellied over and fell down on the Barton County floor because my stomach was so upset. But it was because they were blue, not the traditional green. Okay? But thank you, guys. I appreciate you. It's an honor to be here. It's really neat to see the former Hall of Famers. I'm just going to talk about one real quick before we get on with Ipek. But Curtis Hammocky, can you stand up again? There he is. This business of coaching is the best business we can possibly be in. I was a high school coach for 11 years in Wichita, Kansas. I really wanted to coach in college. And Curtis Hammocky told me about a place called Great Bend, Kansas that he used to play at, and he was going to help me. And he did. And I coach Division I basketball now, but it's all because of you, and I appreciate you. And that's all about relationships. It's all about the community here at Barton, the people here in Great Bend. I've coached in 9 NCAA tournament games, 2 regional championships here at Barton. I'm actually more nervous now than in an NCAA tournament game. So there you go. That's how special this place is. Let's go. Let's move on here. Ipek Turkyilmaz. What a girl. All right, this gal, I got a phone call. For you younger people, we didn't have Huddle, we didn't have Synergy, we didn't have social media when we recruited. It was all based on us busting our tails, driving all over the country, all over the world, flying all over the world. But then we relied a lot on our friends and people we trusted. And I got a call from a coach at Western Illinois University. She actually is the head coach now at Independence JUCO, Leslie Crane. And she told me about this girl named Ipek Turkyilmaz. And we got an email from her and some video. She had to go to junior college to learn English, those kind of things. But the first time I saw her play, I was so impressed. But the connections through the Division I programs, blah, 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 to get Ipek here, it was a Barton County alumni that played basketball here. Her name was Tuba. Anybody remember her? Okay, Tuba and I got in contact, and that's how we got introduced to Ipek. She took the leap of faith and came to Great Bend, Kansas. The Slaters, the Turners, we can go on and on. Kathy Oshiro, the Ingalls. We had a lot of people that supported women's basketball. Dr. Smith and just the entire community. But I called Dr. Turner and Judy and said, hey, we got a special girl coming in. Is there any way you guys could host her? And they did. And to this day, 13 years later, it's her mom and dad. And that's the impact that Barton County community has on me, on student athletes, and all of us. So thank you, Judy and Terry. Some of our greatest friends, we're only here 3 years, but some of our greatest lifetime friends are still here, and we still communicate. Been to Turks and Caicos with a couple of them, Jamaica, Colorado, Cancun, we've done it all. and that's this community. And everybody's talked about it that's been up here, and I just want to reiterate it one more time. The city of Great Bend, the Barton County community family, you guys are special. Ipek, there's not very many people that play college sports that have like a LeBron or a Magic or a Tiger or any sport. She's Three-Peck. That's her name, Three-Peck. It's not Ipek, it's Three-Peck. She broke the record here for most three-pointers ever made. Funny story, though, her freshman year, we had 3 games to go, and she only needed 3 3-pointers. Well, she makes like 7 or 8 to 10 a game. And she went 0 for 21. And I kept telling her to keep shooting. So she didn't get it her freshman year, but she got it her sophomore year, crushed it with Coach Lindley. And then she's the all-time leading three-point shooter in Barton County history. And that's why you get a name like Three-Peck. I think Angie talked about it, but I think Trevor did too. But there's 5 characteristics that I believe that makes a Hall of Famer. Number 1, obviously, is you got to have talent, and obviously Ipek has talent. But number 2, you got to be coachable. You got to be a team player for your institution, for your teammates. And Ipek's one of the greatest team players we've ever had. You got to have work ethic, and you got to have passion. Work ethic and passion. In this day and age, we talk about it a lot, but you wanted to see somebody work. I could come in this gym at 11 o'clock at night, or I could stroll in here at 6:30 in the morning, and there was a ball bouncing in this gym, and Ipek was in here shooting, dribbling, working on her game. There's a machine over there called the Dr. Dish. Some of you guys know what that is, where it shoots the ball back to you. She wore it out. We had to buy a new one. True story. I made Fletch play for it, though. Third thing you got to have, you got to have talent. You got to be coachable. You got to have work ethic. You got to be loyal. Everybody wants something right now, right today in this day and age. You want it right now. You got to be loyal, and you got to be loyal not only to your teammates but to your coaches, to your institution. And Ipek's loyal. And most importantly, I think you got to love each other. And you know, to be a successful businessman, to be a successful contributor, to be a successful player, coach, you got to love people. And you got to love what you're doing. You got to smile every day. You got to have energy. And Ipek has all those things. That's why she's my assistant coach right now at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. All right. Again, I want to thank, before Ipek comes up here, I want to thank Trevor for letting me come today. We've been friends a long time. The first game I ever coached at Barton County Community College, we played Pratt JUCO. And I remember, Todd, you weren't the SID then, but Todd came the next year, but I think it was Mike Marzoff. He comes to my office. He goes, "Hey, we've won 54 straight against Pratt. Don't screw it up." So we play. Maya's a freshman that year, I think. Yeah, Maya was a freshman. And Trevor's coaching over at Pratt on the women's side at the time. And I was the first coach to lose to Pratt in 27 years. But we got the last laugh. We played for the region championship that year. Lost to Seward County. But yeah, that was the first time that we really got to know each other. We used to travel together recruiting. I recruited his daughter to go to Pittsburgh State when I was there. She's now at Fort Hays, but she didn't come. So, but I left anyway, right? But no, I want to thank Trevor. And really, one more time, I want to just thank you guys, the community, Great Bend, a special place in our heart. Our daughter was raised here. You guys raised our daughter. We taught her how to play cards at the Knights of Columbus when she's in 2nd grade. But no, Coach Fletch, we had some great times together as well. And I could tell you some stories, but maybe at another time over some Dr. Peppers. But probably wouldn't be too appropriate. But we've had some great times together, kept in touch all these years. And what a great family. And I want to thank also Coach Warren. When I first moved here, we got to play coaches softball together. and he played short and I played third, and we were pretty good, weren't we? And we had Dude rolling 2 at second. We had Lyles Lashley. Yeah, we got better the older we played. We did, for sure. But Coach Warren was a great friend of ours when we were here. I'm so thankful that he's getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it. But my job is to recognize one of my favorite people in the world. So let's hear from Ipek Turkyilmaz.
Congratulations, sweetheart. So good to have you here. Good job, man. That's all right. That's how special this place is. We'll be in this one day.
I'm shaking. All right. I'm afraid the microphone now. Well, thank you so much, Coach Lord. It's a big honor to be here today. 14 years ago, when I had my English second language class, I had the speech. Now it's crazy. I give you guys a speech, and hopefully I can talk. I'm a little nervous. But 2006, when Coach Lord found me, I came here. It was a big decision. Before I was in the airplane, I pray a lot. I pray God that it was a right decision for me because I couldn't speak English. I knew yes, no, and thank you. So I remember at the airport, I didn't even know there was that mean gate. I had my flight ticket, and I found security guy. Thank God, luckily, I got my gate. I didn't even know time. So I was watching people. They sit, I sit. They stand up, I stand up. They walk, I just follow them. And after, Turkey is just straight from New York to Istanbul. It's like 10 hours flight. But anyway, I didn't sleep probably 20 hours. When Coach Lord picked me up from the airport, he tried to talk very slow and loud. Thought like I could understand him. Again, I knew yes, no, and thank you. He was, are you hungry? I was like, I don't know. And I didn't eat. Again, after all day, really one day traveling, I was starving. I didn't eat. In the car, we tried to talk a little bit, but of course, no success. And then I remember he dropped me off to Judy and Terry's home, got my bag, suitcase. That's why his back hurts. I feel really bad for him. All the coaches, we carry the bags. But anyway, I went straight to bed, and Judy left a tray and got some food. She came back to the basement. I didn't touch the food. I didn't drink water. No bathroom, no nothing. She thought maybe I was dead. No, I was tired and nervous. So next day I woke up and I called Mom. I was like, I didn't know where I was at. I was still thinking I was in Turkey. Then I start crying. It hit me. I was in America. It wasn't the first time. When I was 14 years old, I left from my hometown to a different city just to play basketball because my city, we didn't have good basketball teams. So anyway, I was 20 when I came to America, but it was different. I had to work so hard to learn the language. And I remember my first week, I had to drop my basic English class, basic math. Coach put me in the English second language with Mary Coatman. I'm so blessed. I learned everything with her. And then art, Steve Dudek. I wish today he was here, but he was an amazing guy. So anyway, I took art class. I had to be eligible to play basketball. And I didn't even know how to clean my brush. You have to get the paint thinner, not cup of water. I tried to clean it, and of course my brush stick. Steve Dudek came and like, look what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. But anyway, it was hard process, but I had great people help me to learn the language. They never gave up. They were always super friendly, always supported me. I even remember my biology class. I had my big book dictionary. Now, thank God the technology, but my time, we had thick book. And I was looking the words. If it's maybe 10 questions, I was able to only answer like 2 questions in 1 hour. Then Curtis, my teacher told me, Ipek, you need to come to my office, take the test there. I was like, great. Then I passed with B. Whew, thank God. But I was studying really hard. So anyway, Barton, people here, not just basketball, everybody from cafeteria to teachers to workers to Diane, everybody, you guys been amazing to me. It's home. I remember for the games, my freshman year, my teammates' parent, they called me 3-pack. Coach just said it about the record. I was so close. But I had big flyer in the gym and the Turkish flag. And Judy, you see that front row there? They had the T-shirts and my picture on it and says 3-pack. It was crazy. It was, again, if I come to America, probably I will choose this school again. I didn't know anything. I didn't know the Division I, Division II, JUCO. I didn't know nothing. I just got so lucky that great people with Coach Lord, again, 14 years. I never stopped talking to him. All the special days, holidays, always we stay in touch. I'm sorry, I jumped to stories, but when I was in Arizona, I always wanted to be a coach. And it was like about to get my flight ticket, and Coach Lord actually told me, Ipek, I got a job for you, Western Nebraska. And I was like, great, I always wanted to be a coach. I didn't want to go back to Turkey, I want to stay in America. Then he helped me. My first coaching job, I was Nebraska 6 years. Then my first Division II schools, he helped me. Now at UTRGV. So I'm so blessed. He's a mentor, he's father, more than coach. That's why this sport, I'm glad I was able to play basketball. But it's more than that, it's people who you know. And today, Coach Lumley, Melissa, you guys are here. Thank you so much for coming. It was a special year with you here, 1 year in Arizona. I'm beyond blessed. I'm beyond excited and honored. Every time, summertime when I came here to visit Judy, Terry, my friends here, I always dream about Hall of Fame. I never been in one Hall of Fame or never really listened to speech, so my first time. But it's been a big honor. I'm so humble and so blessed to be here. Thank you so much for coming. I think that's all I can say. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you.
Great job. You did a wonderful job.
Sorry, can I tell you guys one more story about April Fool? I have to say that. So, I came to America January, April. In Turkey, we also do April Fool as well. With Judy and Terry, we were thinking we should do something to Coach Lord call. And I called Coach Lord. I said, Coach, I'm homesick. I can't do it here anymore. My teammates are mean. I want to go back to Turkey. He was like, Ipek, no. Why? No, Ipek, no. And he wanted to talk to Judy. And then, of course, April, it was 1 April, or April Fool. 1 April, yes, it was a bad joke. Thank God, 10 years coaching, my players, they didn't do joke like that. Then I will have a heart attack. So yeah, I was a little mean girl, but now we got the story. So thank you.
It's so awesome listening to the inductees, and she just rattled off so many things in her acceptance speech about what Barton Community College really is. How much did she talk about basketball? during her acceptance speech. The 3-peck and the T-shirts, and other than that, it was about biology class and all the people that helped her and ESOL and how she had to work so hard. By the way, you know, there are a lot of student athletes even out here today, and certainly they understand, if they aren't international student athletes, how much Barton embraces diversity. And I think you are a shining example of that. Someone who came from so far away, gave Barton an opportunity, Barton gave you an opportunity, and how fluent you now speak English, and the work that you've put in, the family that you have made with all of these people. A great lesson for all of you student athletes here, in that doors of opportunities will open at different times for you, and it's what are you going to do with those opportunities. And the hope, and as she said, she prayed a lot as she was coming here in that car ride from the airport, that when you get those opportunities, you will be surrounded with people that will help you succeed. And I know that she would attest there were hundreds of people here at Barton Community College, and again, why it is so special, that helped her succeed. And look at you now today, our newest member of the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. It is very seldom in any collegiate athletic program at any institution that you find someone that is a staple, that is a trademark, that is the face of a program at an institution. And I don't think there's any question, as I see so many former players here today, and I hear so many stories, even still today, from people that surround themselves with Barton baseball, that our next inductee, Coach Warren, is just that. He is Barton baseball, and one of his prodigies and his players is now leading the baseball program. It's been really, really neat to see. I first got to know Coach Warren when I was an 18-year-old. Well, I came here, I was 17. I was young. My mom sent me to school too early, and I still blame her for that today. But I was this punk 17-year-old kid. And Coach Warren doesn't even know this, and I've never really even talked to him about it. I was a people watcher. I liked to learn from people. And it didn't take me very long on campus to figure out that he was one of the guys. He was one of those people that people looked up to. And when he said jump, his players said how high. And when he demanded things of his players, he meant it, and they respected it. And I grew up in a house that was that way. And so I learned to grow appreciative of Coach Warren at a very young age, and he doesn't even know that. But that's part of coaching, and as a former coach, that I took so much pride in. I wanted to be someone that young people respected and looked up to and wanted to be like. And Coach Warren was one of those people. Again, all through junior high and high school, and certainly when you get into college and you're around a lot of people that you don't really know. I took little bits and pieces from all kinds of people, and coaches in particular, because I was around sport a lot. But I saw that, and I had a lot of friends that were baseball players. Again, part of that culture and that family. That really hasn't been brought up today as much. But it was one big happy family. There was 50 baseball players on the front 4 rows of the student section every single night. And he made that happen. He built that kind of culture. And we could talk about wins today, and we could talk about how successful he was over a long period of time here at Barton. But there's a whole lot more to all of our inductees today, but particularly in my mind with Coach Warren, in terms of what he's meant to this institution and this baseball program. And it was just a matter of time before today came, and we have him up here on this stage as our newest inductee. And here to introduce Coach Warren, I would like you to help me welcome our current head baseball coach and future Hall of Famer, Coach Brent Biggs. Can I say one more thing? Go ahead. I don't know if he's nervous or not, but he doesn't really like talking in front of the staff at a staff meeting. So this is going to be awesome to see today. I know you're going to do great.
Well, I got a few things. First one is, I think you stole my notes. I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about now. Am I the presenter, or am I introducing Coach Warren? Or you?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, you
got it?
you spoke for me. But number two, like you said, I'm not a basketball guy. I don't command a bunch of attention or like a bunch of attention like these guys up here. And Coach Warren knows that. Okay, and there's a million people that could have presented him, with a lot more credentials than me. So it means a lot coming from him. But it's kind of one of those things when I talk to him, is there anything you want me to relay, talk about? And he said, no, not really. And to this day, he's still coaching me up because he knows I don't like to do it. And that's what we're going to try and get into. So it's an honor. It's a privilege to introduce Coach Warren. And the theme about it is, everyone's probably sat out there, read the bio on him. I mean, it's unbelievable. The wins, the years, the Hall of Fames he's already in. The national team that he coached. And you can go on and on with the accolades on the baseball side of things. Okay. Number one, you do hold all the records here. Okay. Those are safe because there's no way I can handle these guys for 30 years. All right. But that commitment to one junior college and that's, passion for a place, like Trevor said, you don't get that anymore. In a world where people bounce from jobs to jobs, and the next paycheck and where can I, move up. Coach loved it here, because, and it wasn't necessarily, I don't think it was a baseball thing. It was a family thing. It was a community thing. And that's what we're going to try and get into. So 30 years at an institution, unbelievable, over 1,000 wins in his career, and that's probably the least important of what he did, okay? And yeah, I'm nervous too, Wayne, so, okay. The biggest thing, and what I'm going to talk about a lot today is basically the influence. The influence Coach had in the program at Barton, and even throughout the Midwest. It was more than baseball, and it was kind of laid the groundwork as to what's important, okay? Yeah, you're coming here, you're a student athlete to get an education, okay? Be a good baseball player too, but, there were certain expectations that you knew from the time that you stepped on campus, okay? And that all started with him. And the most important thing was become a man. We get a chance. As a young coach, you always want to win games, and that's what it's all about. I want to get into coaching because I want to win, and I want to, we want to go to the World Series, and we want to do this. And you quickly learn, and spending time around Coach, you quickly learn that it's a lot more than that, and I think that's the most important thing today. There's a bunch of former players that, I had a chance to coach, had a chance to recruit, had a chance to watch Coach work with, and to this day, you still get texts from people who played for Coach, who were recruited, played against, and it's all relative in a sense of what he meant to them. Okay, there's a bunch of successful people that came from this program, whether it's professional baseball players, Division I, Division II, successful businessmen. Dads, brothers, sons, all that, and the most important part of it is what they learned here, okay? And, it's not very often where you can say, yeah, I want to influence people and win baseball games, but you know what, probably over 1,000 baseball players in your time here. What job, or I guess you can call it a job, do you get the opportunity to influence that many people? And then you influence those 1,000, and that quickly turns into thousands and hundreds of thousands, all because of the time they spent with Coach Warren. And that's the most important thing. Probably the coolest part of this is, I don't know if it's in here, but Coach's coaching tree. It's not just coaching players, and it's not just making players into men, and it's not just getting them to the next level. He spent time with everybody, whether it was the trainers, the managers, assistant coaches. And that's pretty evident in the sense of, I think over half the junior college coaches in the league came from Coach Warren. You know, there's Division I guys, pro guys, and that says a lot because, you know, a lot of times we spend a lot of time on just the players, but Coach cared more about every individual rather than just the guys that were there to win games. And that's what I take the most out of, you know, and I'm rambling on, but, you know, I was able to see it. You know, I'm from Great Bend. I grew up going to coaches' camps, idolizing, man, this guy's, you know, he's bigger than anything, you know. And then as a player in high school, even though he didn't want me, I still ended up here, all right? And then you see that side of things, and he's still scary, and, man, you know, he's a successful coach, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, and then the first day you screw up and he yells at you, and it's like, whoa, all right, this guy means business, you know, and you don't like him at times, and but then once you graduate, you move along, and you realize, man, that guy had a big influence on how successful I am today, or how I act today, or how I carry myself. And then, you know, graduating from Fort Hays, I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I called him up. Hey, Coach, I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life. Can I come help out? Yeah, sure. Okay. And if you know anything about the baseball profession, you don't just get jobs. You have to work yourself. I mean, you do laundry. You don't just get a job. Okay, they're not handed to you and stuff. And Coach called me a week before school started and said, hey, our assistant left. You can have the job. What? Okay, yeah, great. You know, he called me the next day and told me I had to teach economics class, so that was kind of almost a deal breaker. But, you know, here he is, a guy that's been doing it for 20 years, and he basically just hired a 22-year-old kid that didn't know anything, you know, and I'll be forever grateful for that. You know, and along the lines, I mean, it's just one of those things where he coached me probably those first 4 or 5 years as an assistant, and he coached the players, you know, and it's kind of the same theme. It's more than just about baseball, okay? You know, the impact that he had on Barton, like Trevor said, I mean, he's the godfather, all right, of baseball and everything, you know, and in a time in the 80s and 90s where, you know, it was all basketball. Like I said, they steal the thunder. They don't have budgets. They get to do whatever they want. You know, the baseball team was practicing in town. Sorry, guys. The baseball team was practicing in town, driving back and forth. You know, so Coach raised money. He got with the group, got with guys in the community, and now we have a baseball field on campus, you know. And so we move along, and we go years later, and you know, they have these basketball teams, they have these nice uniforms, and they got Lane gets to go sit in the bathroom and read his paper every morning. Why can't baseball have that? You know? So Coach rallied the troops again, and he gets a clubhouse, a nice clubhouse that we have today. Okay? And then, you know, you go farther in that, and, you know, the last few years we had to have, you know, Trevor wanted his basketball court, and so, you know, we were able to get the indoor, you know, and raise money for that. And it's just in a world where baseball kind of gets a second fiddle, which I get it, this guy and all the nice facilities, it's because of him, you know, and all the nice things. And then we get turf, and it's all, like Trevor said, he's the face of Barton baseball. And, you know, and everywhere you go, you know, me and Coach McBride go recruit, whether it's in Denver, Oklahoma, Missouri. Hey, what's Coach Warren doing these days? Hey, I played for him, man. I had so much respect for him. And I just can't say enough about the coach, the man, the mentor, the friend. And it's my honor to introduce Coach Warren, Barton Sports Hall of Fame.
Kind of hard to follow that. I'm old, but what's up? not that old. I got grandkids. Grandpa, what's up? First of all, thank you, all of you. Congratulations to all of you. It's been an honor to be here with you guys, all of you. I've been very blessed in my lifetime, and this is one of those times. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the praise to God the Father, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for pointing me in this direction, for pointing my life in this direction and putting people like these people in my life. It's not very often that you start out as a head baseball coach at a junior college at 23 years old, try to figure it out yourself with no assistant coaches for 5 years, and then you get here at Barton and it's completely different. We couldn't beat them, so I joined them. That's not entirely true, Doug Bender. I was at Dodge City Community College, third year, playing in the sub-regional, get to the finals of the winner's bracket. Guess who? Against Barton County. And it was Barton County at the time. Got our butt kicked, 10-0. Okay? Came back, won another game, won actually 2 games. We got Barton County again, finals. Got to beat them twice. What happened, Doug? Beat them twice, didn't we? Yeah, absolutely. You know what? In hindsight, I look back at that, and that's why I'm here right now. That's why I'm standing here right now. In the recruiting business, we get to know a lot of kids. We get to know a lot of players, a lot of student athletes, whether they're our student athletes or somebody else's student athletes. There were a lot of guys on that team at Barton at the time that I had recruited. I guess Great Bend wasn't as far west as Dodge City was. But they're good friends. Talked to them all the time when they were there. When this job came open, they went to the athletic director, said, "This is who you need to hire," and I will be forever grateful for that. I'm going to tell you why here in a few minutes. Didn't hurt that the athletic director that was here at the time was my high school basketball coach, Jerry Mullen. And I will tell you that I did hear from Coach Mullen yesterday. I said, "This is all your fault." He said, "I'm so proud of you right now." He never said anything that nice to me ever when I was playing for him. So it meant something to me. Over the last few days, my phone's kind of blown up with former players, coaches, and I got a text from a player that played at Colby congratulating me because he loved watching Barton County play even when he was playing against them. Fellas, that's the ultimate comment. That's the ultimate compliment right there. That's not the first time that's happened, and that was not because of me. That was because of the players that we had here at Barton. I'm going to backtrack a little bit, and there's something that I need to say, and you know, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee. Thank you very much for this honor. I'd like to thank my wife, Debbie, my rock. You know, you can say that I was Mr. Barton or whatever you want to say, but there was one person that was right there, beside me. I want to do this. Thank you. Brent alluded to this earlier, and I just want to expand on it a little bit. I want to thank the community of Great Bend. We spent over half our life here. Think about that. Some of you have spent all your lives in one place, and you're wondering why you couldn't get out of there. Okay? I'm in a profession, or I was in a profession where moving up was the whole goal. Junior college was a start, like Coach Biggs said. Then you move up from there. You go to Division II or you go to Division I. Those opportunities came, but I didn't want to leave. Excuse me. And even if I would have wanted to leave, they would have made me stay because of my wife, Debbie, and what she did here. Angie cheered for her. I've known Angie for a long time. Right after she got done up here, I thought, wow, we got to follow that, right? But the community was just so receptive to us, so friendly. There are people that aren't here now that have passed on and gone home to be with the Lord. That meant so much to us, that made us feel at home, that found us our first house, that when our house burnt to the ground, were there for us. Were there waiting on us the next day. Lauren Unruh, come stay at our hotel. You can stay here as long as you like until you can find a place to go. It just never ended. And it was that way in the profession. Something that my dad told me a long time ago. He said, there are going to be people in this world that you're not going to like very much. But you better learn to get along with them. Because you never know when that person might be important to you or to other people. Man, God bless him. He was right. When it came time to build a baseball field here, before that we would practice in the fall at Veterans Park until maybe the middle of September, and we'd take the old Blue Goose bus over to Hoisington and practice the rest of the fall, or over to Ellenwood and practice the rest of the fall. Okay? Because we couldn't practice on Veterans Park. Had an alfalfa field down here where the baseball field is right now. Might be kind of hard to believe, but that's what it was. There was also a house down there that was about to fall down that we called the track house. They didn't care whether it was going to fall down or not. They could house track guys in there. Holy cow. There were possums, raccoons. I don't think any of them saw a snake. But you know how good you have it right now if you're in the track program compared to that. So that lot was willed to the college, and that was marked for a baseball field. Coach McCarty was the athletic director at the time. Dr. Downing was the president at the time. They said, go get it. Your hands are untied. Go do what you have to do. I felt like we could do something there that wouldn't cost the college anything. And you know why? Because of the community. We got some people together. We sold advertising signs. It paid for the fence. We went to 2 concrete contractors. They each gave us a dugout. The community did that. The community is responsible for what is out there right now. Not me, the community. Danny Biggs, Jimmy Lawson. God bless those two. They did a lot for what we have right there. And if the name Biggs sounds familiar, it's Brent's grandpa. What a guy. What a person. And a great, great friend. Jimmy Lawson. Jimmy was dying. He had just gotten out of the hospital. Danny brought him to the field one day before a game. Didn't look very good, but Jimmy always had a sense of humor. And those of you that know him will understand this. I said, Jimmy, how you doing? Oh, just got out of the hospital. They opened me up. Said all they found were Weller's bottles and beer cans. True story. And if you know Jimmy, that's probably right. He was a character with a wife who was Indian and always kept him in line. And that's what he told me. I got an Indian wife and she keeps me in line. You can't make this stuff up. God is good. God blessed me, my family, to be in this spot for 30 years. Was it hard? Yeah, it was hard at times. Larry Gale's sitting right here. Larry Gale was in the maintenance department. Larry Gale helped us build that field. Larry Gale, I told Larry Gale he was the smartest guy on campus, and he still would be if he was here. He is. The dude could make a 4-bedroom house with toothpicks. Ever seen the movie MacGyver? That's him. Swiss Army knife, that guy. Can't tell you how much I appreciated you guys. I spent more time with them than I did with anybody else because they were those guys that loved to help and wanted to help. You know, I've had the pleasure to coach Coach Biggs and watch him grow. I've had the pleasure, he told you, of him coming to our camps. He was about the same size then. But I told one of my grandsons, I told Brody, I said, when Brent sees you, he's going to say, my gosh, he's gotten big. And I'm just going to, I'm going to tell him, Brody. He goes, what? And I go, everybody's bigger than you. But he hears that all the time. I'm going to tell you something about Coach Biggs. The minute I knew that guy was going to play for me, might have been in the Slauson building when you were like 8 years old. And then I really knew it when the American Legion team was going to use our field to play on, and we had rain and had to get water off the infield. And a senior, when he was a sophomore, was trying to remove water from a puddle on the ground. All of a sudden, I see Brent running right at this kid, and the kid's got his back to him. He didn't stop. He hit that kid in the back, grabbed hold of his shoulders. Kid went face first into the mud, into the water. Brent got up, walked away, didn't get a drop on him. Guy was about 6'4". Dude's got some guts. You know? He's got it. He played every inning that he went to school here until the last game, and he got hurt. We tried everything to get him back out there. Everything. Every inning for 2 years. he played. There's a reason why he's the head baseball coach right here at Barton. I had the privilege of coaching him. I've had the privilege of coaching my son, Shane. Shane's here today. I played for my dad. It was awesome. Did we get in fights? Yes. Did I learn? Yes. I learned a lot. Then I got to coach my son. And then, of all things, I got to coach a grandson in a fall baseball league that was just unbelievable. And the great part of it was, he had a teammate on that team who was the son of a player that played here for me. Now I've got 2 other grandsons that I'm going to coach for. I'm going to coach them. Yeah. Creighton, I'm going to coach you one of these days. All right? Yep. And then, you know, I am the girl grandpa. Riley, Kelsey, Harper, they have me wrapped right around their little finger, just like you would think. They always want to go to Walmart because they know they're going to get ice cream afterwards. Right? Yeah. But they're growing. They're growing fast. Finally, I want to thank Barton. What made Barton special were its people, its faculty, the admissions office, the financial aid office. They made this place special. I might not have made it 30 years here if it hadn't been for Dana Foss. Dana Foss was our athletic program rock. There is not an athletic director that's been here that wouldn't say the same thing. Dana Foss, I love you. God bless you. You know, Brent talked a little bit about family. I had a mentor who happened to call me today about noon from Tucson, Arizona. He was my college coach. And he told me something early on in my coaching career. Actually, he told me 2 things. First one, he said, you know what, Mike? He said, good coach makes a better player. Then he said, a great coach makes a better man. Man, that stuck with me because that's what he did for me when I played for him. He made me a better man. So that was a goal. I didn't get in this to win any Hall of Fame awards. I didn't get into this to win baseball games or 1,000 games or anything like that. I got into this because of guys like Mitch Slater, because of guys like Ben French. Guys like Skylar Hill, who we have an award named after in this program. Those are the guys. That's why I coached. But I also worked in the philosophy, and this is the second thing he told me. They won't know, or they won't care what you know until they know that you care. And that was always important to me. It was always important for me to get to know every player that we had in that clubhouse, or in that locker room, or on that bus, or in those vans. It was important for me to find out Are you from a split family? Do you have a mom? Did your dad pass away? Did your mom pass away? It was about them, and it still is. It wasn't about me. It never was. That's why this is so humbling for me, to see those guys that came a long way just to see me that I haven't seen in a while. If you played at Barton during that 30 years that I was here, can you stand up? You already know this, but I love every one of you. It was always about family here, and which is hard to do in a junior college at a 2-year school. Not here that long. But once we had it established, man, did it take on a life of its own. And it was a blast. It was fun. It was fun watching other athletes come in and be successful. It was fun being around a coaching staff that got along. It's fun having good leadership. Jerry McCarty. I'll ever be indebted to Jerry McCarty. He's my friend in Christ. He'll be my friend long after we're gone. Coach mentioned some assistant coaches that we've had here that have gone on. I believe there are 5 that are now head coaches of junior colleges in this conference. One at Hutch, one at Pratt, one at Butler, one at Coffeyville. One just retired at Johnson County. Didn't play here, but played for me. You know what that says? It doesn't say anything about as much about me as it does about them. They listened. They got better. They understand what they want. I didn't expect Brent to do everything I did. He has got his own philosophy and the way he wants to do things, and I told him that. You go put your footprint on this. He's right. I could have hired a lot of other people. The one thing that this program stood for and still does is loyalty, trust, and honesty. And the only way that that can happen is when you continue to keep continuity like we were able to do with players that played here to come back and coach. And it says something about this college that they wanted to. They wanted to come back to Barton. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 100 times. Wish Barton was a 4-year school. And that says a lot about this place. You know, I'm so old that when I was here, this place wasn't here. We had indoor practice in the swimming pool. We put mats up along the pool, and the pitchers pitched off the mound in there. If a ball went in the water, they had a mile. Was it a mile, Curtis? Right? Yeah. You wouldn't believe all the guys diving for baseballs, man. Catchers, pitchers, balls rolling over there. Get it! Oh, man. I didn't care if the mats went in there, as long as the baseball didn't. And I know that, you know, every time that I talk to different coaches that are coaching now, I hear stories. I guarantee you, for every story they tell, it reminds me of this. There are a lot of them, 30 years worth. I mean, I can't narrow any of them down. We've had guys here that I have learned so much from, as much as they've learned from me, hopefully, but more than anything, they learned about how to live their lives. Because you see, it's not all about wins and losses. On the baseball field, it's all about wins and losses in life. You're not going to play baseball. You're not going to do anything like that the rest of your life. You have to be prepared, and that's what we wanted our players to do. That's what Coach Biggs wants. You guys sitting back there. Most fun I've had in the last 5 years was doing color commentary at the Region 6 baseball tournament. It's a lot of fun. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of the way you played. You played hard. You didn't care who you were playing. You weren't playing a name on the front of the jersey. You were playing for the name on the front of your jersey. And I told Coach Biggs that. It was fun to watch, and it's going to be fun for me again. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. But I want to get to know every one of you. One of these days I will. I want to wish you luck this spring. Skylar Hill, stand up, please. I don't mean to embarrass you. We have the most inspirational award, right? Skylar Hill, his name is on that award. Skylar had cancer halfway through the baseball season. Skylar was a warrior. Skylar was our best guy. He was a sophomore. He had everything in front of him. He had signed to play baseball at a Division II school, Missouri Southern, correct? But he had cancer. Skylar and I sat in the cancer center most of the summer, the rest of that spring. Skylar is a survivor, a cancer survivor, and he is now the head baseball coach at Heston High School. Thanks, Skylar. That's why we coach. That's it in a nutshell. That's why we do what we do. All of us. That's why we do what we do. Wins and losses will come. But life moves on. We won over 900 games here at Barton. I didn't throw one pitch. I didn't hit one ball. Threw a lot of batting practice. But after Coach Johnson left, we got better as hitters. Coach Johnson was a pitching coach for us. But we got better as hitters because somebody else threw batting practice besides him. He threw a pitch in a guy's pocket in batting practice. That's hard to do. Steve, I love you. You're like a son to me. In closing, I would just like to say thank you. There's a lot of people that are responsible for this. And the excitement that we see in student athletes' eyes when they're successful. And it doesn't matter if they got an A in a class, they got an A on a test, they hit a home run, the game-winning 3, game-winning goal, the match-winning pin, doesn't matter. It excites us. And that doesn't happen very often in very many places. Lastly, I just want to say, may God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ give you grace and peace. Thank you.
who took my program, I won't be able to figure out where I'm at. No, we'll make it work. I'm kidding. We'll be resourceful and we'll figure it out. Well, I talked before Coach Biggs got up here to introduce Coach Warren, and there was lots of things that stuck with me in Coach Warren's speech today, but he said a word at the towards the very end of his acceptance speech, and the word was footprint. And that stuck with me, and probably a word that describes Coach Warren better than anything. You left your footprint here in many, 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 many ways. So thank you, and welcome to the Hall of Fame, sir. Okay, I've got some folks that I want to thank, and we'll talk about the schedule for the rest of the day. But before I do that, there's a group of people that we need to recognize today who are instrumental in the village, in the culture that's been spoke of so much today. And to introduce them and talk a little bit about their group, and thank you for being here today, I'd like to welcome and ask that you help me welcome the Booster Club Board President, Mr. Rob Bowman.
Congratulations, 3-pack. That's how I remember it. Thank you. Lane, you got a lot of great stuff going on. Not me too, brother.
At least you got some.
Good to see you. Okay. Yeehaw! First, I talked to Trevor yesterday morning about, I said, hey, what am I supposed to do? And he kind of lined me out and said, hey, just kind of close this, introduce our group, and then kind of close our part out, and you can all go. Well, those of you know me, that how introverted and shy I am, I thought, well, I can't quite do that. So what I want to do first is tell a little story why I'm up here so soon, okay? Because I wasn't planning on getting involved with the Booster Club, and then boom, I'm up here in the front of you guys, talking at the Sports Hall of Fame banquet, okay? I retired a couple years ago. My better half, and those of you that know my wife, Kelly Biggs Bowman, yes, there is a tie, and I'm damn proud of it. I caught her in a weak moment. She said, I'm tired of hearing you. I'm tired of hearing the belly aching and stuff, so why don't you just go ahead? And so I did. And when I did that, people said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your free time? And those of you that know me and know our families and how we've been tied to the junior college for decades, okay? Thought, hey, I've had a couple guys say, why don't you join the Booster Club, man? So yeah, I'd like to do that. And I really did. I really wanted to do that. So I got involved last year. They voted me on. I don't know if it was a tie and Trevor had to break the tie or what the deal was, but I got on the board, and I was involved last year with the Booster Club board, and it's a pretty cool deal. Do a lot of really neat things, being involved with the athletic programs, the coaches, the kids. And I thought, hey, this is all right. I like this. So, we get through the year. We skip what? We skip June, whatever it is. Have a July meeting or August. I don't remember which one. I think it's July. Meeting at Playa Azul at noon. And getting ready to go to the meeting, and I have a little crisis. We got some work going on at the house, and I got a little crisis I got to deal with. So I text Ron Mason and said, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be there. Oh, man, you got to be there. So, well, I'll get through it, okay. So I show up at Playa Azul at 12:35, and I walk in, and they say, hi, Mr. President, how you doing? I said, what? Hi, Mr. President, we just voted you into president. And, I wasn't ready for that, okay? I just wanted to get into this thing be behind the scenes and work to help, raise money and feed the kids, and support the organization. But then I got thinking, and I thought, hey, you know what? This is the 50th anniversary of the beginning of Barton Community College. 50th anniversary, okay? Hey, that's kind of cool. So, okay. Now, they've had to put up with me trying to figure out how to run a meeting, keep it on time, because half the board's retired, so we don't care what time it is, right? The other half's working, and they're on their noon hour, and they try to drive to the college, and then they got to get back to go to work, okay? So it's been an interesting juggle. But what I would like to do as the president of the Booster Club Board, Barton Community College Booster Club, and the board, I would like to thank all of you for being here today. I know Wednesday it was kind of an odd deal, but that's how it worked out. And we were a little concerned about what kind of turnout we were going to get for these very, very special and deserving guests. Our class of 2020, okay? I'm going to call you the class of 2020 on the 50th anniversary. So you're really special. You're more special than you thought you were. Did you know that? Okay. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting these outstanding contributors in their own way to the success of the community college and the athletic department. We greatly appreciate it. What's interesting is you sit there and you listen to their stories, you think, whoa, we got some big shoes to fill, kids. We got some big shoes to fill. But you know what? This is an outstanding group, and I think they're up to the task. So that being said, all of the board members, Booster Club board members, would you please stand? Are you all up? Okay. Where am I at? There's Dave. Dave Foss, who is the lesser half of his family with Dana. But he's a good dude. He's a devoted Barton Community College fan. Does tons of things on the club, with the Booster Club, and we greatly appreciate it. Okay, starting from left to right to the back in the southeast corner there, and this guy, Kevin Sonny Sundahl. I have the utmost respect for this guy because he played 2 years for Dick Nagy, and he coached with him. We loved to come out and watch Dick back in the days, but I swear to God, I told my mom and dad, I said, I can't play for that dude. He's crazy. Kevin, you're a great member, and it's been fun to get you know even better on the Booster Club. To hit right next to him is Chuck Feldholder. Chuck's an old Fort Hays grad, so we have a lot of good conversations, and Chuck is a great member of the Booster Club. Thank you, Chuck. Cole Rife, voice of the Cougars. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. My fellow Jayhawker, Dick Kaiser. Thanks, Dick. Linda Sisson, she's a Jayhawker too. Thank you. Janice Link, awesome. She's a newbie to the board. Thanks, Janice, a great addition. Sandy Smith. I believe Sandy graduated from the first class of Barton Community College. Second class of Barton Community College, back there when Sonny was going to school here. Okay, thank you, Janice. And then the guy that didn't wear his outfit today because he was working, Kelly Miller, great guy. This is our board. Basically, we've got a few people missing here today, but great board. It's been an honor and a privilege to be able to join you and work on the Booster Club and assist with the athletic programs. Okay, thanks, Scott. Real quick, I want to thank the Slaters. I remember you guys, but then you left and I forgot you, right? Okay. But I spent all morning just going through the intros to everybody because I wanted to make sure I was up to snuff. When you get retired, your brain doesn't work but that's okay. No, thank you. You guys are blessings, and there's been a lot of great contributors to the athletic programs through the years. Guys talked about some of them I'm very proud of. Obviously, Danny Biggs, Jimmy Lawson was a hell of a guy, and I went to work for Jimmy. He hired me at Tree to Light back in the day. And there are other stories that he can tell you about, but you use oil field lingo, so I'm not going to say those stories, okay? Yeah. Fletch? Love you, brother. Mr. Lord. 3-pack. That's what I remember by 3-pack. That was fun. Those were fun days, too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mike Warren. You know, I wasn't going to do all this, but I'm going to anyway because I can. How's that? I have a son. I have 2 beautiful daughters. But I have a son that was probably a little spoiled and was a decent basketball player and he was a decent baseball player. And I always hoped and dreamed that someday he would grow up and go through a Barton program. Now, being a basketball guy, because I played out here in 77, 78, I thought it'd be basketball. And Jace, my boy, could shoot from 3. Didn't like to go inside. The guy's 6'3", 180 pounds, didn't like to go inside, but he could shoot from the outside. So I was thinking, hopefully he's good enough to go play basketball at Barton County. That was kind of the dream, okay? But he also played baseball, and he liked baseball. And I think he figured he had a better chance to be a better athlete in college playing baseball. No offense, Fletch, I don't think he could guard. Okay? He could shoot, but he could guard. So we were blessed to have him join the baseball team under Coach Warren and Brent. And we were proud as hell. Can't tell you how proud we were. Humbled, proud. Thought he'd have to redshirt, though. I really did. But I know he was a spoiled kid, and Mike's way of coaching was a little bit of a shock to him. Okay, like a lot of those kids, that class especially, had a tough time dealing with things, being accountable and responsible and that kind of thing. But I will tell you this, to this day, and my son's told me this before, and one of the proudest things that I feel for him, and I want to thank Mike, I want to thank you, Skip, and Brent, is he's a much better man today, a much better adult. He's accountable and responsible, and a lot of the reason he is, not just because I'm his dad and his mother was better than me, but what he learned in baseball in general, and what he learned from Skip and Brent playing baseball out here. And you talk about, Brent said something about growing up and being a man. Baseball's a tough sport, guys. I'm a basketball guy, but I learned baseball is one hell of a tough sport, isn't it, Curtis? It's a hell of a tough sport, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you guys did to contribute to my son's ability to grow up and be a man. So, that being said, what else do I got? Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I want to strongly encourage you to stay for the rest of the day and the evening. We have a couple of in case you didn't know, we've got a couple of big games coming up tonight against one of our all-time favorite teams we love to despise. Okay? So, come out, support everybody. You see these guys again. Okay? So, but I'm done.
I just didn't want him dismissing you yet till I give out the schedule. How about a big hand for Mr. Bowman here? Rob, we sincerely appreciate your leadership. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to be real quick, I promise. Some of you probably got to go potty. We appreciate Rob's leadership greatly. And I can't tell you, I do every year, but I need to tell you every year how important the Booster Club is to the overall operation and culture of our village. They truly are special, and we have an awesome group, and it makes my job so much easier. So thank you for that. And as you all know, we could never put on an event like today without the help of many. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my entire coaching staff, who's always a big part of helping out, but certainly Todd Moore, Brandon Smith, and Brooke Thompson for their great efforts in making today possible and run smooth. So what is the rest of today? I'll go over the schedule, and then I'll introduce you to the class. The schedule for the rest of the day is, we got plenty of cake left over there? Okay, and plenty of punch. If you haven't tried any of that cake, I know I'm biased because my mom made them, but they are awesome. And we don't want to take any of that stuff home because Trevor certainly doesn't need any of that. But I want you to have a piece of cake and some punch and mince and nuts before you leave. If you haven't had any, if you want seconds, get some. It is now 4 o'clock, perfect timing. We'll take some pictures. We'll get some pictures with you guys in the athletic administration, Booster Club, and then certainly your family and friends up here. We'll move the podium, and everybody will be free to take some pictures. It's 4 o'clock now. At about 4:15 or 4:20, the inductees, their presenters, any family and friends that you'd like to bring with you will head over to the Kavanaugh Room in the Learning Resource Center, better known or formerly known as the library. Okay, we'll eat over there. Don't worry, Cougar Den members, you're going to get a nice chicken fried steak meal too. That'll just be up in the den during our games this evening. And as Mr. Bowman said, we've got the Blue Dragons in town tonight. I think it's going to be an awesome way to culminate this whole thing. And then between the women's and the men's game tonight, we will recognize our new inductees in the class of 2020, while also recognizing those of you Hall of Famers that are in attendance this afternoon. Please come and have a meal with us in the library, and then we'd like to recognize you between games as well this evening. And one other thing on the docket this evening, it is Camp Hope Night with leadership from the athletic department and Tana Cooper and her admissions staff. We have a T-shirt drive for the last several weeks, and all the proceeds from that T-shirt drive will be presented in a check to Camp Hope and their membership directors at halftime of the men's game tonight. I haven't calculated what we've been able to raise for Camp Hope over the years. I know it was over $3,000 last year, and so we're certainly excited with our connection here at the college and Camp Hope to do that tonight as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I talked about how special this group is. 50th anniversary, as Rob said, class of 2020, and it is quite possible that all three of your presenters today will be sitting on this stage as Hall of Famers at some point in their career. So a really, really, really cool cast of members sitting amongst me today. I want one more time for our three Hall of Fame inductees, Coach Mike Warren, Ipek, Turkyilmaz, and Bill and Lori Slater. Dr. Bill and Lori Slater, would you please stand? And everybody, let's give them a big round of applause. Okay, y'all ready? Again, programs are back there, posters if you need them, our newest magazine. Everybody in here, you better be at the game tonight. We need you. We'll see you later.